Hello there, and welcome back for some more math videos. We are ready to start Module 4, which is one variable data. So if you turn to that tab in your notebook, we're looking at how to display one variable data. And we are going to begin with some definitions, with some terms. So in your student workbook, you have a page that looks very much like this. And let's add to that just a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in here on the word distribution and give you the statistical or the mathematical definition of distribution. When you talk about statistical mathematics, a distribution is a description of how the data values are spread out. Let's say how the data values in a set are spread out. So distribution is referring in the simplest sense to the shape of a graph or a table or something, not a table, a graph, a curve, some sort of graphical picture of a set of data. The distribution is the description of how the data in a set is how the data are distributed. One thing that you will learn if you go into higher mathematics is that certain distributions fit certain word problems. So you learn about different kinds of data and their relative distributions. You learn to associate certain shapes with certain types of problems. So a distribution is the way the data looks on a graph. Quadrant, this is a term that you may have heard before if you've done algebra or geometry on a coordinate plane. You would have this x-axis, an axis is just line, and then a y-axis is the vertical line. So when you put those two together, you allow them to cross, you get a coordinate plane with 4 quadrants. So I want to give you the definition of quadrant, and then I'll show you the 4 quadrants of this plane. The word can be used in other situations too, but quadrant is one of 4 parts. Anytime you see the prefix quad, or I'm going to go ahead and highlight this down here, quar, that is referring to 4. So a quadrant is one of 4 parts. And if you are looking at a standard coordinate plane, this is called quadrant 1. And those are designated with Roman numerals. This is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3. And this is quadrant 4. And we're really not going to work much with this, but I just wanted to give you the definition of a quadrant. It's one of those 4 parts of this plane. A quartile, again, relates to the concept of 4. A quartile is also one of 4 parts of a data set. And to illustrate this concept, I'm not going to give you data, but I am going to give you a line. Let's do just a visual representation of what a quartile is. So let's draw this line, and I'm going to mark it with some endpoints. Now the thing about quartiles, they don't have to be even. So I don't want you to think that these have to be even spaces. They could be, but they don't have to be. Okay. You may have, if you have a line that looks something like this, you could have this called the first quartile. Here would be the second quartile. The third quartile, and the fourth. There will always be 4 of them if you're dealing with quartiles. But you might say, what is the probability that a student's test score on the HiSET math will fall in the 4th quartile? So we would be looking at this area up here in that 4th section. So the word quartile is another word for part, if you're talking about 4 parts, not necessarily equal parts. Okay, I'm going to stop this particular video. In the next one, we will be looking at how to do, I believe it's a dot plot. So we'll be using these terms again, but I don't want the video to get so long. So I'll see you soon.